I'm wondering, are Democrats disappointed in the way President Obama is handling this crisis, or will they defend him to the end? Joining us now is Bernie Whitman. He's a former Clinton advisor and a staunch defender of President Obama. But Bernie, you can't be completely happy with what you're seeing.
No, I'm certainly not. And in fact, I think the president missed an extraordinary opportunity yesterday when he stood up in the White House and made his remarks. Congress isn't in session. He had the room and all of Washington to himself. I think this could have been an opportunity for him to not simply say, I'm going to make recommendations to the committee at some point, but to get much more specific, much more clear about precisely what additional spending cuts and what additional revenue increases he would propose. I think the American people will respond to that. The American people, two-thirds of whom believe that we should increase taxes on the wealthy and we should cut spending at the same time. That's a time and
But the president hasn't come up with any kind of specific plan so far. A lot of people accuse him from leading from behind. I think with this whole thing, he's been an interested observer myself. So you're saying get out there with a serious, concrete plan and take it before the American public.
Here's exactly what I'd do. August, as we all know, is a slow news month. I would get out there on the hustings. I'd travel around the country, maybe places like Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Texas. Go into where the Republicans are, be very clear about arguing vociferously for investment in infrastructure. We got to get jobs created here.
Infrastructure, taxes, we hear that, though. He says that. He said that yesterday.
No,
you want to hear the same old stuff?
No, I want to hear specific policy proposals about how we're going to lower unemployment, because the truth is, this whole debt ceiling was real.
How about this? Let's drill in Anwar. Let's lower the corporate tax rate. Let's get money that's overseas repatriated back into this country. How come that's never on the table? This shovel-ready garbage did not work. Even the president got a giggle out of it at one point. Bernard, everyone is sick of this. This is what the market said yesterday when it fell over 200 points.
No, I think
we are sick of the same crap that comes out of the White House.
I think that you know what the market despises? Uncertainty. And what we've done,
that's
hold
all
on,
we've had.
Tracy, what we've done is we've created a commission, again, to sort of punt this to a commission. We have no idea what they're going to come up with, and if the president is going to get serious, he ought to get up there with specific proposals about what he wants for the committee to react.
He loves commissions.
That is the problem, is when you use the word specific. And this is where the uncertainty continues to grow, is that when he makes a statement and then we say explain, and he avoids, goes up and around, whatever, he can't explain. He does not understand how, the key word, how he's going to get from where he is to the next level. If I took him and I put him in a room with real business leaders and we started going through the plan, the man would leave with the tail between his legs. He does not know how. He knows how to give a speech. He knows how to do the rhetoric, but he has no idea how to execute.
Here's what I'd like him to say. I'd like him to say, you know what, folks, this $700 billion that exists in the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy, we've got to get rid of that. Moody said they're going to look to see what we do with the Bush tax cuts expiring. I'd say that. I'd say we need a payroll tax holiday for employers and employees.
So well. That worked so well.
And we've never done it for employers. We've done it for employees. We've never done it for employers. I would say we need to spend $500 billion, invest that in infrastructure. Every $1 billion creates 30 to 35,000 jobs. That's exactly.
See,
these are some of the specifics.
A lot of the things you're
and you got to
about,
put together Medicare.
Bernard, did you see the article from Brett Stevens? We had him on earlier.
I did not.
There was a piece here I thought that I would ask you about. He talked about President Obama not being smart, but one particular line, he says he's absent from issues in which he has a duty to be involved. He's overbearing when he ought to be absent. S&P downgraded us on Friday. We heard from the president an hour late yesterday, and the markets crumbled. Is there a sense of urgency about all of this, or does he just kick it to committees only to overturn them later on? What is the deal with the president and the idea of really being a hands-on leader?
My concern is that there was a wait-and-see attitude. There was let's cool off, let's let the weekend pass. Congress is out of session. Let's just give it some time. I think that was a terrible mistake. What I would have done is I would have had the president, Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, in the White House, coming up with some real plans.
How about just coming up with plans himself? Why? I mean, he made a huge mistake relying on Nancy Pelosi, but remember when President Bush took an extra minute to read a book to kids? He was skewered by the liberals. He was indecisive. The president took almost three whole days to figure out what to say when America was knocked off its perch by S&P. Well, doesn't that make you somewhat
upset?
And then
when he did come out and say, he opened his mouth, he did a fundamental flaw. He said, not my fault, everybody else's fault, not my fault.
Let's remember what President Clinton did when he was faced with a government shutdown, which was both a political disaster, potentially political disaster, and bad for the economy. What he did is he went on the forefront. He made a very clear communication about why this would be bad for the country, why the Republicans were wrong, what his position would be. He went and he sold that to the American people, and he called out the Democrats when the Democrats needed to be called out. He made it clear that the Republicans were going to push this too far, and ultimately he won re-election. The president has to be much more aggressive.
What you're saying is that Clinton felt our pain, and so far it doesn't look like President Obama necessarily feels our pain. I think that's what you're saying, but we got to leave it there. Bernard Whitman, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Charles.